Hello, Nightmare back again with yet another season of Disney video, and today we are going to wrap up our talks about the Value Resort by talking about Pop Century and Art of Animation, the two newer Value Resorts, and they seem to be the fan favorites of the Value Resorts as well. So first off, we are going to be talking about Pop Century. The Pop Century actually have a very interesting history. Originally it was supposed to open in 2001, but due to the decline of tourists because of 9/11, it unfortunately didn't open. So they tried again in March 2002, and again they didn't really see a big increase of tourists around Disney or Orlando or really anywhere. So they delayed it one more time after that. And then of course that fell through, and then they opened it on December 13th, 2003. So pretty much I don't know if the buildings were already done by 2001. So the building, and if that's the case, the buildings were let sitting there for a year and a half. Well, almost 2 years, really. So, Pop Century is actually Pop half a century, because it only really have half a century. It has, of course, 5 decades, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And it is the largest of the Valley Resorts with 2,880 rooms. Now you're probably wondering what happened to the 1900s to the 40s. Well, the plans were made up for those. In fact, 3 buildings were already made for one of the areas, but because Pop had such trouble getting open and they didn't really see that much of a increase by the time Pop Century opened, they decided not to build the other half of the resort, which would have been another, I want to say another 3,000 room, I believe. So these would be the legendary years, and they actually built a bridge called the Generation Gap Bridge, which you can still go across, and they still have markings of the years that would have been across the way from the classic years. Now, Pop Century and Art of Animation are pretty much step cousins. And what I mean by that is that Art of Animation is right next door to Pop Century and use some of the buildings that the legendary years would have, occupied. Now, Art of Animation is more of a family suite resort because of what Nick Hotel, I believe that's what the name is called, did so well. And let's face it, a lot of people like the idea of having enough room for kids to move around, even if, it's gloomy and all that and they can't do much. Disney decided to capitalize on this. Now, since 3 of the buildings, or 2 of the buildings, either 2 or 3 of the buildings were already built across the way from Pop Century, they decided to occupy those buildings and kept them as standard rooms, while the rest of the resort would be, of course, family suites. Now, Autumn Animation has Lion King, Finding Nemo, Little Mermaid, and Cars. So obviously it's a mixed bag. Now going back to Pop Century. Pop Century has 3 pools. It has the Hippy Dippy pool for the 60s and 70s, and it's the main pool that you see right after you exit the lobby. You have the bowling pin pool in the 50s areas, and the 80s and 90s area share the computer pool. They also have everything pop shopping and dining, which I believe is the only one that have the the gift shop in the same area as the food court. They also have Fast Forward Arcade, I believe is what it's called. I could be wrong. Now back to Autumn Animation. Autumn Animation also have 3 pools. It also hosts the largest pool on Disney grounds, being that whatever the flipping hell the Finding Nemo pool is. And I also have an underwater. They also have a pool that plays underwater music. So I'm guessing they were trying to, make saying, okay, we're going to make Autumn Animation great. But I don't think Autumn Animation is that great. First off, it's kind of small. It has 1,120 suites, with another, I believe, if I am sure, another 400 rooms on top of that, and those are the standards rooms. Between 400 and 800, or something along those lines. Now, Autumn Animation obviously was supposed to be the bigger, better All-Star Movies, which I honestly think All-Star Movies is the better resort because they have more of a different variety, and it's not like, oh, bunch of kitties, Finding Nemo, with joy. Now, I'm not saying Autumn Animation is not a bad resort, but it's a value resort. Let me rephrase that. It's a moderate resort packaged as a value resort. What I mean by that is the most expensive of the value resort is actually close to moderate. The only reason why it's not moderate is because it's, I guess, the price is a couple dollar difference away from the moderate resorts, but it pretty much have a lot of, moderate and even deluxe resort thing. It holds, it has the largest pool on Disney property. I believe all of the rooms are in hallways, other than being, you're walking outside. You go into the building and then you walk. No, you're in the sun, you're in the heat, whatever. So, Autumn Animation is pretty much an old case in point, a moderate resort. because even though it's classified as a value resort, and the only reason why it's a value resort is because of a little bit of price difference by a couple of dollars from moderate. And also, I don't believe moderate resorts have suites, family suites. I believe they only have standard rooms, or the normal basic rooms. So if you are trying to get into art and animation, you're gonna have a harder time to get in there if you are looking for a standard, like a two queen size bedroom with just a bathroom and such. You're also gonna be paying a little more. The Pop Century is a bracket down, but it's higher up than the All Stars resorts. Simply because the amenities are a little nicer and it's newer. A lot of people love Pop Century because it's different from the All Stars, which, wouldn't know, but from what everyone, says about Pop Century, it's their favorite. They rather go there than, All Stars or even on the animation, which, the two of them are battering heads right now because they're right across the way. The good news is that because they are so close to each other, you can actually go and eat at their food court. Can't swim in the pools because I believe Art of Animation has a gate system when you have to scan your magic bands to enter the pools. So that's kind of different. Actually, that's very different. So it makes, trying, to, swim in the pools on an animation a little harder, which you can't pool jump anyway, so it doesn't matter. So if you're looking for a newer resort and you really don't want to do All Stars because you heard bad things, or you just want to do something that isn't as generic, I'd say pick Pop Century. If you want something with a little more room, if you're having extended family coming with you, do Art of Animation. Really, it's all up to you. So that is it for this time. Please join me for the next video and the Season of Disney series. And until next time, I'll see you, my lovelies.